Okay, so here's another example of an interactive iBook that my 11th grade students made using the iAuthor tool, which is used on a Mac. You have to use an Apple computer, a Mac. Some of them had laptops, some of them used their desktops at home. They had to download iOS Lion, which did cost $30, so access is definitely an issue, but the iAuthor tool was free, naturally. So it's called All Summer in a Day by Ray Bradbury. It's an adaptation of his short story. And this begins with rain, because a big part of the story has to do with the characters living on Venus and it raining consistently. And so here's the title page, All Summer in a Day, and they put the planet Earth and Venus there because it takes place on Venus. And they had given a little overview there of the story. And here's the text, the body of the text that they put a little space background there, if you can see. You know, you're out in the universe because it happens out on Venus. And so they just embedded, they did a black background on purpose to remind you of space, I suppose. And they embedded a little picture of a little girl who is the main character, who I guess gets locked in a closet. And on the one day that it stops raining on Venus, the kids who locked her in there forgot about her. And so, pretty tragic, sad story. So they put a little visual in there to break up the text. And then they did add this little door slamming or sound, the sound of a door closing. I don't know if you heard that. I'll play it again. Just to sort of dramatize what was happening in the text, so they added sound there. And then again another visual, and more pictures, and more rain, pictures of rain. And then I guess it says behind the closet door was only silence. They unlocked the door even more slowly and let Margot out, so they added this little piece here, which they just grabbed from the web. I think it was Dungeons and Dragons. Kind of funny they added that widget. And then they have a separate chapter, which is called Review. It says, now that you've read the story, examine it further, explore plot elements and structure, and think about the story in a larger context. And this is where they did a really nice plot diagram. And as you can see, all the different portions of plot diagram are outlined, and they label it. And then analyzing plot structure, this is more interactive. This is a way to review. And you can lift these little pieces of plot and arrange them accordingly. And of course you can check your answer, see if you got them correct, which I did. And then there's more review. There's 5 questions here, and they use the widget, the iAuthor tool to create these widgets. It says Review 2.2. They nicely labeled everything. Choose the appropriate label from the plot diagram for each section of the story. The children remember Margot and go to let her out of the closet. What part of the plot was that? Of course, you check your answer, and I got it right. And then there's another question, 5 questions. This little piece that they added I thought was excellent. This is interactive, little chart about setting, and if you touch on the different little pieces of the screen there, it says time period, the characters live on Venus, suggesting a futuristic time frame. Location, the story takes place on Venus, far from Earth where Margot grew up. But the fact that it's tactile and they can touch it and find out more information, obviously is, I think, the power of interactivity in terms of learning what the story was about and just keeping readers engaged. So I want to remind you that the students came up with their learning objectives for their readers, they had to consciously think about how people read and learn, what would be entertaining and educational and engaging all at once. So they were utilizing design and creativity with imagery and learning the author tool and what it could do to meet their goals. And I thought these girls did a really, really nice job with that. Character versus nature, this is about conflict. And they describe the actual conflict, character versus nature within the story. Character versus character, again, they explain that. Characters in conflict, we have a definition of the protagonist. It's Margot is the protagonist. She faces the main conflicts. And the antagonist is William and the other school children. So they did a really nice job with that, conveying that information. And then they listed some discussion questions that, you know, students could probably respond to. And if we all, in a perfect world, had iPads, they could just bounce out to either the notes or word processing and answer those and post them online to their website. It could all be interactive and mobile and archived. Then they did a little about the author's page. It says, All Summer in a Day was written by Ray Bradbury. This interactive edition was created by Sarah, Emily, and Jessica. And they did this funny little picture of them mimicking Ray Bradbury. And they give a little biographical information about him and then about themselves, which I thought was very professional looking. So these girls did a great job on their interactive project.